All right, guys. First time ever doing this, but thank you to Hybrid Fitness Media for getting us some coverage of HYROX Anaheim. We're jumping in just a little bit late here, um, but Hybrid Fitness Media's got the live coverage going on. The pro women just entered the HYROX Station 1. So what I'm planning on doing here is just kind of giving you some live commentary, letting you watch along. Again, shout out to Hybrid Fitness Media for their coverage. And we'll just give you some updates. I'm also going to pull up the live tracking from HYROX so that we can see the splits of everybody as well as we watch along. Just kind of go through while these women are skiing. Looks like I got Morgan Scholes right there, Rogloski. So some of the other women, I'm just going to name some of them off right now that are competing. We've got the two that I just mentioned, Morgan Scholes, Chris Rogloski. We've got Carly Wopat, Katie Duke, Sam Faddis, Maria Fetchik, who's an Elite 15 athlete, Karen Guidry, Camilla Massa has been struggling lately with, I think she had some surgery, she's had some injuries going on. She's been kind of open about it, which we love about Camilla. And this is her first race back in a while, so we're really excited to see what she can do. It was noted that Camilla was mentioned that she was going to go in a 120 wave instead of the 110 wave that all the rest of these women are going in. I'm giving you mountain time, I guess, like 12:10 and 12:20. So Camilla was like one of the only big name athletes, but actually that's Camilla right there in the blue top, the blue Reebok top. So scratch that. She was moved into that first wave with all these other women. We've got Maria there in the green sports bra representing the hybrid engine. Jess Petro is another one that we want to mention. We've also got Meg Martin and Katie Simonson. So those are the big names that I recognize. My apologies if you're another big name athlete out there that's throwing down that I missed. I'm still kind of getting new to everybody's names, but I think I've got most of those guys in there. I think Jess Petro is there in the yellow right there before they showed Maria. Again, there's Camila. Taking a look at the splits real quick. Looks like Morgan and Chris were the first two to come in, and then Jess Petro and Maria Fetchik were 1 second behind. Jen Thompson, who crushed the race just a couple of weeks ago, surprised everybody. Surprised a lot of people, I should say, not everybody. I'm sure some people knew she was going to crush it. There were several people that kind of didn't know who she was, and she had an awesome performance a few weeks ago. So she came in 2 seconds back, and then Camilla came in 8 seconds off the lead, as well as Katie Duke 8 seconds back, and Katie Simonson was 12 seconds back. And then Bethany Flores, who is a multiple times CrossFit Games athlete, she's competing at HYROX Anaheim. She was 16 seconds back coming into this year. So you see Morgan, there's Chris. I think that's Jess Petro there in third. All right, first athlete out looked like Jen Thompson, I believe. All right, so the first 5 out of the skier, we got Jen Thompson, then we got Jess Petro 8 seconds back, Maria Fetchik 11 seconds back, Morgan Scholes 12 seconds back, Camila Massa 15 seconds back. And then I think Chris came out there in 6th out of the skier. Quick adjustment on those times. So Jen Thompson out first, and then Jess was 6 seconds back, Maria 8 seconds back. Morgan 12 seconds back, Camila 15, and Chris 7 seconds back. Bethany Flores still holding 7th place. All right, as we've got these ladies out on their second run, just one thing to mention. So there's two other HYROX races going on this weekend. We've got HYROX Marseille in France, and then we also have HYROX Stockholm. The ladies have gone in both of those events. The men may have also gone as well. But so far on the women's side, in France at HYROX Marseille, Lucy Proctor, who about a month ago, HYROX Dublin put up a 102.50 something, I believe it was. She just ran a 101.39 HYROX Marseille earlier today. Unbelievable performance. Pretty sure that does put her in the elite qualification for the next major. I think she had posted that she thinks she's about ninth on the leaderboard right now, with her 102 and change, and then her 101.39 today. That does put her in a pretty good spot. So she mentioned that she'll see you in Vegas. So that's really exciting. She's either 20 or 21 years old. She was 20 earlier this year in January, so I'm not sure if she turned 21. Most likely she did. But yeah, up and coming superstar who's been crushing it lately. Lucy Davis was also in that race. I believe she got, let me just double check here. I believe she got third. Lucy Davis did. Just double check. Lucy Davis got fourth in 108.10. The two of them have been on social media. They've been training together over there in the UK. So that's been pretty cool. Lucy Davis just broke the world record for Women's Open a couple weeks ago. I think it has since been broken again just last week. But Lucy Davis is a BPN athlete. She's done some training there. Yeah, she ran a 108.10 at HYROX. Still waiting on the first pro women in this wave to come on in. HYROX's website, the live tracking, has two other women that came in there first, but I doubt that's correct. So we're still waiting on the women to come into the sled push. All right, here we go. Sled push. That's Jen Thompson there in all black. Pants and black t-shirt there with bright shoes. Then we got Morgan Scholes. So Jen came in first, right alongside Morgan, and Jess Betcher was a second back. And then Maria Fetcher was 3 seconds back. So those top four are also really close. We've got Rogloski in 9 seconds back in fifth, and then Camila 14 seconds back in sixth. Katie Duke and Katie Simonson, seventh and eighth place, 33, 36 seconds back. So still pretty close between all top 10 women are within a minute. So we got Bethany Flores in ninth, 38 seconds back coming into the sled push, and Sam Faddis is 54 seconds back coming into the sled push. The top 10 also within a minute of each other. That's not too crazy. In a lot of these races, the first two runs in the skier, the women are really close. The sleds usually put some distance between these athletes. So I think between the sled push and the sled pull, is that Rogloski there? A little sideways head action. We love those braids, Chris. Good job. A lot of times, yeah, you'll see a lot of separation probably going on here with the sled push and the sled pull. Looks like Jen Thompson is still in the lead. Chris looks like she might be making up some ground on Maria Justin Morgan. You've got Morgan and Maria right there, but Chris looks like she's out in front of them. And that's Jess Petro in the yellow, still working on her first push down. So Jen is done. Jen is done. All four down and back, or two down and back, all four lengths, I should say. And then it looks like Chris is going out there, running out there in second. Got Morgan and Maria just about tied, getting ready to head out in third and fourth. There they go. Maria slightly ahead of Morgan. And Jess looks like she'll be the fifth one out. So taking a look at the splits so far, Jen was the first one out. And then we got Chris 8 seconds back, Maria 22 seconds back, Morgan Scholes 24 seconds back. Camila Massa usually does some damage here on the sled push. It's one of her better stations. Trying to see where she's at. All right, so she is in sixth, 46 seconds back from the lead, 46 seconds back from Jen. All right, so it looks like we've got our live stream here moving to the run. There goes Jen. We got Jen, Chris, Maria, Morgan, and then Jess Petro, 1 through 5. Then we got Camila, Bethany Flores, Katie Duke, Sam Faddis, and Katie Simonson rounding out 6 through 10. The top 7 are also 52 seconds apart. And then Katie Duke, Sam Faddis, Katie Simonson, the bottom 3 in the top 10 are 107, 120, 121 behind the lead. So that did separate these women out just a little bit. You guys want to take a look at the splits? We've got them right here for coming out of the sled push. You'll see all the differentials right here with how far back each athlete is in this column. Chris and Maria just moved up a little bit. Morgan dropped, Jess dropped. Bethany moved up a spot. Sam Faddis also moved up 1 or 2 spots. So it was a good station for Sam. There's Jen. There's Chris, just a couple seconds behind her. It looks like those two are opening up a little bit of a lead. There's Maria having to zigzag around some guys, and Morgan taking the inside track. I'm not sure who that woman was right there. Let's take a look at. Not sure who that other athlete there was, but we still got Jen in first, Chris in second, and Maria and Morgan in third and fourth. So those two are opening up a little bit of. So Jen Thompson, our leader, just ran. Looking at high results. got HYROX Chicago a couple weeks ago. She got 103.05 for first place for the pro win in HYROX Chicago just a couple of weeks ago. All right, so there's Jen and Chris coming into the sled pull. Just waiting for the HYROX to update the live tracking. All right, we got Jen in first, Chris 2 seconds back, Maria 17 seconds back, Morgan shows 19 seconds back, and Camila was 41 seconds back, and Jess is 42 seconds back. Just making sure I update some of the Instagram comments for those guys watching the live feed on there, trying to add some more conversation. Making sure I'm not just poaching off of HYROX video here. We'll follow them on Instagram and on YouTube. Matt does a lot of awesome interviews with athletes on YouTube, on their podcast. We'll have a Monday recap show as well where he'll talk about all the weekend results, so make sure you check that out. And then he's got a lot of live stuff that he does on Instagram. I can't remember who the person is right now doing the Instagram live, but we got somebody there at the event. He's actually over in the UK with the Fit Fest right now, so he couldn't be there, but he got somebody else to help us out with the sled coverage. So I can't remember who you were, but whoever you are, thank you so much for providing it. All right, Jen and Chris still look like they're holding up the lead there. Chris is like right behind her. Chris hasn't raced pro individuals for a while either. She's done quite a few double races. She won a doubles race with her female partner a couple weeks ago in Dallas, and she hasn't raced individual for quite some time. So a lot of people are curious to see how she's going to do. And so far, she looks like she's in pretty good shape. Got Maria third there in the green sports bra. Chris is going with the braids and the black tank top. And then Morgan's in the white sports bra. And then Camila in the bright blue top. Jen there in first, so it's very composed. Jogging back and forth in between the poles. That's one way you can kind of see who's feeling good, who's not. Chris also jogging. Sometimes you'll see a few walking steps before they start to jog after they're done a pull. That's kind of a good indication that they're struggling a little bit. But I haven't seen that yet out of the top two women. Let's see what Maria looks like here when she finishes up her pull. Also looks pretty good. Camila is making a move here. So Morgan is dropping. Looks like another spot. Camila. Interesting what Jen's doing with that rope. Really good rope management. She's throwing the rope behind her each time so it doesn't get in the way of her feet. So that way she's able to load the rope in between her feet when she gets ready for that pull. You'll see the other lady have that rope inside of the with them. Caitlin Pullins asked if the rope is supposed to stay in the back of you. I don't think that is in the rules. I don't think it mentions that at all. So I think that is allowed to throw the rope out. Your feet have to stay in the box and can't touch the white line behind you, but I don't think there's any rule about where the rope gets placed. There's definitely just like an ethical component to not throwing it next to you or out of your lane to the side because then it would impede another athlete. But I don't think that there is a rule on where that rope is placed. But that is a good question from Caitlin. All right, so let's see here for sled pull. All right, coming out of sled pull, we got Jen Thompson still in first. Chris Poglaski 11 seconds back. So Chris was only 2 seconds back when she entered the station. So Jen just put 9 seconds on her on the pole, and then Camila Massa jumped up into third place. So we know Camila is great at the sleds. She showed it here on the sled pole by making up a couple of spots. She was fifth coming into the sled, and she's the third one coming out of the sled. So awesome job there from Camila, a couple of spots. So those top three are pretty close. And then in fourth, we got Morgan Scholes out of the sled pull, a minute 10 back. Maria Fetchik, a minute 17 back in fifth. Jess Petro, a minute 22 back in sixth. So 4, 5, and 6 are all right there with each other. We've got 1, 2, and 3 all pretty close, and then 4, 5, and 6 all pretty close. But there is a couple of small packs that are starting to form. There's Camilla throwing a tongue out, always having a good time. Always, that girl is always smiling. I love her attitude whenever she's racing. She's always having a good time, even when things aren't going her way. So we love that. So to take a look at, let's look a couple more ladies, finish up with that sled pull, and then I'll show you guys what the splits look like here. I'll drop that on the screen. Run with your heart just said this is a stacked women's heat. You are correct. There are a lot of really good. Anthony's asking to really get a sled. I wonder why he would pick that. I'm not sure. She's still in fifth. She's a minute 18 back. Maybe he saw her have to do a little extra pull. So if you get a sled pull penalty, I believe what they're doing, at least Jen running through in first place. If you get a sled pull penalty, usually it's for your feet, you're going in front of the line or stepping on the line behind you, one or the other. But if you do that, you get, I believe it's a 5-meter penalty. Where you keep Chris down, maybe 10 seconds back. You get a 5-meter penalty, and usually it's assessed at the very end. So after your last, after your fourth pull, then you have to run back down and pull an additional 5 meters. So maybe Maria dropped a couple of spots there because of a penalty. Not sure. We'll have to see when things shake out if she did get a penalty or not. So let's take a quick look at the splits. Jen's still in the lead. Chris 11 seconds back. Blow this up a little bit. There we go. Camila 28 seconds back, and then you'll see Morgan, Maria, and Jess are all kind of 117, 118, 126. So there's a little pack there, and then another little pack between 7 through 10. So Katie Duke, Katie Simonson, Bethany Flores, and Sam Faddis. So Bethany dropped down a spot. Bethany dropped down a spot, and then Sam still there in 10th. But 7 through 10th are close. 4 through 6 is close. 1, 2, and 3 are all still pretty close. And it looks like Jen just entered the burpee broad jump. So let's get back to the coverage. See Jen there on the far left, far right side as you're looking at it on the screen, but in the left lane. Looks like you got Chris right there in the middle lane, right here. Caitlin just asked, was the first kilometer run long? Everybody's times are whack. Yes, the first kilometer was more than just a kilometer. So the first run, they actually went in the in arch on the fourth time they saw it, and then every other run the third time. So it is highly likely that that first run was a little bit longer. New to HYROX, that happens with the different HYROX courses based on how they set up the rock zone and all of the stations and kind of space with the rock zone. They try to make sure there's always the same amount of running between the running laps and the rock zone combined. They always make that number the same, but sometimes they have to make the first and or the last lap a little bit different in distance. So you will see some different times a lot between venues for what that first run is compared to the 7 additional runs. All right, we've got Jen and we've got Chris into the burpees, 12 seconds back. Camila, 30 seconds back. And then Maria and Morgan are 112 and 114 back. Still very much in the race, Maria and Morgan are. You can make up a minute on the wall balls. Just depends on what kind of day the other women are having. I believe Jen is very strong at wall balls. I think Chris is pretty good at them too. Camila, like those top 3 women are all, to my knowledge, pretty darn good at wall balls. So I don't see them struggling too much when they get there, unless they just completely blow up. But I don't see that happening. So if Maria, Morgan, and Jess want to make up some time and try to sneak into the top 3, I would say that I would try to do it before the last round in the wall balls if they've got it in. You see Morgan there in the baseball cap. She's taking a little bit of a breather there at the bottom. It does look like Morgan is just struggling a little bit. Probably breathing and heart rate is just a little bit high, so she's trying to take a rest on the ground each time. It is a good place to take a rest when you're laying down. If you're going to take a split second of a break, doing so laying down versus standing up or hunched over can help the heart rate lower a little bit. You'll see Maria up there in the top left, black shorts in the top. And that's Jess Petra there in yellow. So you got Camila on the other side, working on her way back. Don't think Jen and Chris are out of the burpees yet. Jen is out of the burpees. Jen just exited the burpees. Looks like that's Chris right now. Oh, there goes Jen, and there goes Chris. So it looks like Chris may have made up a little bit of time. 5 to 10 seconds or so maybe made back on Jen on the burpee broad jumps. But we've got Chris only 3 seconds back heading out of the burpee broad jumps. So Chris definitely took some seconds back. We know Chris is a really good runner. I'm wondering if Chris makes the move here on this run after burpees. We've got the row coming up next. A lot of athletes will use the row as a little bit of recovery. I mean, they're still obviously going pretty hard, but that is one chance where you're sitting down, where you can let your heart rate kind of drop a little bit. And if you do go too hard, you can pay for it later. So a lot of athletes don't really try to go super hard on the row. But everybody's got different strategies, and who knows what these ladies are planning on doing. So I think Chris looks pretty good to me. I wouldn't be surprised if she overtakes Jen on this run, only being 3 seconds back. There's Jen, and there's Chris. All right, so still 3 seconds back. No move yet, but over this next kilometer, we'll see who comes into the row first. They are the only 2 that are out of the burpees. It does look like Camila just finished up her burpees. So she'll be leaving the rock zone very soon. Camila is 124 back, and then Maria is 134 back. So Jen and Chris are pulling away here over almost a minute and a half on 3rd place, Camila. Still don't think we've seen Camila come on the run. You can see that bright blue Reebok top. Kendall saying, "You tell them, Cheryl." Yeah, I love that. So this must be Cheryl Snow, I believe. Thank you, Cheryl, for your coverage. There's Camila right there. Yeah, so you can see Chris and Jen, or Jen and Chris, I should say, have a fairly good sized lead, and there's Maria in fourth. But Jen and Chris are a good bit ahead. Like I said, almost 90 seconds. But there's Jen actually, and Chris right behind her. So Chris is starting to sneak up on her. Yeah, we'll see if Chris makes a move and comes into that row first or not. But they're both really smart athletes. Jen and Chris both are. They're obviously racing each other and keeping an eye on where they're at. But I think both of them are too smart to do anything at this point in the race. It's you're a little past halfway, but there's still a good bit of work to be done. And I don't think either one of them are gonna overdo it at this point, just for an extra second to come in on the road first. But let's see what happens. So our top 10, we've got Jen, Chris, 3 seconds back. Camila, minute 24 back. Maria, minute 34 back. Jess Petro in fifth, 2:05 back. Bethany Flores in sixth. CrossFit athlete, he is 2:32 back. And you got Morgan Scholes in seventh, 2:38 back. Katie Simonson, 2:50 back. Katie Duke is 2:54 off the lead. Sam Faddis in 10th, 3:30 off the lead. Jen is 33 minutes and 6 seconds on her total time out of the rock zone after the tokens. I'm not going to try to do the math on what that calculates to in terms of a total time. And Chris did come into the row first, about 2 or 3 seconds ahead of Jen. So I thought that she might. I know she's an awesome runner. I don't know too much about Jen's running abilities or her running background, but she's obviously an all around good athlete. I just don't know in terms of her running where she's at. But Chris seems to have made a little bit of time up on that. With some two slightly different techniques here. Chris is going on the catch. She's going in a little bit further, really almost touching her chest to the entire front of her leg, her whole quad there. Jen is not going in as far, but you can tell Jen is still pushing really hard through her leg. So they've got slightly different cadences going on here, but both of them are rowing pretty hard. Don't let the difference in their form there kind of confuse you in terms of who's doing more work right now. Chris is letting that chain go all the way up to the flywheel, so she's getting as much length out of that chain as possible. Jen's got some shorter strokes going on, but just because she's got that shorter stroke there, she's still put powerful. And then we got Camila and Maria coming in together in third and fourth. So Chris was in first, Jen was 2 seconds back, and then Camila and Maria are still a minute 30 back. So they actually lost about 10 seconds. They're about a minute 26. So they've lost 8 seconds on that run. They're now a minute 34 back from the lead. And you got Jess Petro there in the yellow coming in fifth. She is 2:05 back. So she's another 30 seconds behind Camila and Maria, who are fighting it out for third. This video is not live. I'm doing this recorded because this is the first one, but I will be doing live ones in the future. But for the times that I'm not going to be at a race, go follow Hybrid Fitness Media on Instagram. They've got 128 people watching the live stream right now. Thank you to Cheryl Snow for providing the coverage. Doing an awesome job so far in terms of all the shots she's getting us. She's getting some good spots there in the spectator area. So thank you, Cheryl. curious to see what's going on here for third place with Camila and Maria, both coming at the same time. Really interested to see which one of them exits the row first. Definitely see Chris and Jen going out before anybody else with a 90-second lead. The two of them will be out first, and then I'm really curious to see Camila and Maria who comes out in third, fighting for that last 30 spot. Natalie O asking, would love to know Chris's average here, like what she's growing. I would too. It's, there's no way Cheryl can get out there onto the course and actually see it. But my guess would be, oh, there's Jen leaving before Chris. So that time Chris just made up on the run, Jen just took it right back on the row. I would suspect Chris gets off really shortly here. Next 2 or 3 pulls. I don't think she's that much farther back from Jen. And she's starting to loosen up the feet. And she's gone. So 3 extra pulls there. My guess would be probably around the 2-minute mark. 2 to 2:05 would be my guess in terms of the average 500 pace there for Chris. All right, Camila and Maria, who you got? Who's it going to be? We may not know until we get those live results. Cheryl is going to check out the ladies on the run, sticking with the lead pack. Let's see on the live tracking. Chris is 18 seconds back. 2 seconds ahead. Now she's 18 seconds back. We then just put 20 seconds on Chris on the row. If you think about it, that's 10 seconds per 500 on her pace that she was faster than Chris. So I would say Jen might have been in the 153 to 155 range, maybe. And Chris was maybe 203, 205, something like that. All right, Camila and Maria are out. Camila came out 3 seconds ahead of Maria. They are now about 145 off of Jen's lead, about a minute 30 back from Chris in second. Camila in third, Maria in fourth. It looks like we got Jess Petro. $222 off the lead. Anthony Parasini, the hybrid engine, is saying based on their row exit, he thinks that they'll finish between 64 and 65 minutes. And just for reference, I'll pull here. So Lucy Proctor, I mentioned her at the beginning of the show, but earlier today in HYROX Marseille, she ran a 1:01:39. 104 or 105. Just goes to show you how good that time was. And Anthony did confirm that Maria got a penalty on the sled pull. So my guess would be that she just stepped out of the box. That's most likely what happens there with the sled pull. All right, looks like Jen just entered the rock zone. Getting ready to take on the farmer's carry. That is not Jen. Got some beautiful pink hair going on there. We love that. The women's doubles team. There's Jen in the all black there on the left side right there. So she chalked up her entire forearm, which is interesting. Maybe I saw that wrong, but it looks like she had chalked all the way up and down, like almost up to her elbow. So maybe I just didn't see that right, but we'll see next time we see her on the run. And there's Chris still in second. Looks like they're moving about the same pace. Jen might be going a little bit faster than Chris. So it looks like we have an L shape for the farmer's carry here in Anaheim. Excuse me. Long straightaway down, and then two pretty quick right turns, a left turn to head back to where you started. Oh, and there's multiple laps. So there's Jen again, and she did put an enormous amount of chalk there on her left forearm. I do remember seeing this in the pre-race brief that there was multiple laps for the farmer's carry. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. Based on how long it's taking these women to get through here, I would say it's just 2. I don't think that there's 3. So this should be it for both Jen and Chris. Looks like Cheryl's trying to get us Jen finishing up. She's in the black t-shirt, and she's back down with kettlebells. A little bit of extra time there placing those kettlebells down. It is a rule that you have to place them after you standing upright and after you in the box. So there were some other ladies there that were putting kettlebells down as well. So maybe she just let them put them down first before she did. And it looks like Chris is not finished as well, as we have Maria right there, up in that hybrid engine tank. Camila right behind her. So Camila came out first on the row, I believe you said. Yes. Camila had a couple seconds on the row ahead of Maria, and Maria is now ahead of her carry. Maria is about 7 seconds ahead of her on carry. Let's see if Camila can make 7 seconds on carry. There's just picture in yellow top. So Jess was 25 seconds behind Camila, and then Morgan is another 20 seconds back from Jess. Looks like Maria is still ahead of Camila. Morgan is on her first lap. Camila is on her second lap here. So Chris left the rock zone 15 seconds back from Jen Thompson. So Jen is still holding that lead. She's 18 seconds ahead of her coming out of the row. So they're still pretty close. Neither one of them really made a move there. We've got Maria still in third, still ahead of Camila. Maria is 146 back from Jen in first, and minute 30 back from Chris in second. Men Pro are at 6:20 p.m. local time, California, West Coast. All right, out of the farms carry. Like I said, Jen in first, Chris 15 seconds back. Then we got Maria 146 back, Camila 159 back. So Maria in third has a 13-second lead on Camila. Fourth, and then Jess Petro is 229 back, which is about another 30 seconds on Camila. And then Morgan in sixth is 302 back for the lead, which is another 30 seconds back from Jess. And it looks like we've got Jen and Chris both into the rock zone before the sandbag lunges. So they have not quite started yet. So Cheryl is zooming in there to the start of the sandbag lunges. We're looking for Jen first, and then Chris. Looks like Jen is about 20 seconds out of Chris into the rock zone. So there's Jen Thompson in first, starting her sandbag lunges. We have 100 meters of sandbag lunges. Looks like it might be a double zigzag, so like a down, a back, a down, and a back. You can stop when you get to the end of each section and take a couple of steps sideways to get to the next one, turn around. And so Chris is 20 seconds back from Jen on the sandbag one. So you have to get both feet across that white line, then you walk up to the next one and head back down. So it looks like they're going to do a down and back, and then one more down. Jen looks really strong in those lunges. There's Chris, second place. Chris looks pretty good too. Chris has longer legs than Jen, which can be an advantage, but I mean, you still have to use your legs. And Jen was moving really well. I would argue moving faster than Chris, so Chris is taking bigger steps, but I don't know that Chris is really gaining much on Jen. It's hard to tell at this point, but it doesn't look like she's gaining much. She's taking bigger steps, but it's taking longer for her to go into the next step each time, whereas Jen is pretty quick one after the other. As we watch Jen and Chris battling it out, we've got Maria still in third. Maria's 148 back from Jen in first. Camila has not started the lunges yet. Maria raced 2 weeks ago in Dallas. A little bobble step there for Jen. Just looked like she lost her balance slightly. Doesn't really look like she's super fatigued or slowing down much. She's still moving really well. With some sweat, saliva dripping from her mouth there, letting it all hang out literally. Uh, yeah, and there's Chris. So it looks like Jen is actually putting some time on Chris. Looks like she's more than 20 seconds ahead now. In that battle for third, looks like Camila is 32 seconds back from Maria in the battle for third. And then Jess Petro is coming up on Camila. Jess is only 13 seconds back from Camila. Maria in third, Camila in fourth, Jess in fifth. Yeah, so that's definitely more than 20 seconds here between Jen and Chris. Chris making sure she touches her back knee. That was that little hesitation before there. You must touch your knee to the ground. Then we got Morgan Scholes in sixth. Morgan is 30 seconds back from Jess in fifth. Just give you a quick look at the splits. You'll see Jen, Chris, Maria, Camila, Jess Petro, and Paul Scholes right there. Splits. All right, Jen is out. Let's see, Maria is off there to the left side of the screen. Looks like Chris is just getting ready to finish up her lunges over here on the right side of the screen. Great job from Cheryl getting as many of these women in the shot as she can. Let's see what that lead is now. Ooh, 50 seconds. Jen is ahead of Chris by 50 seconds. So she just put, what, 30 seconds on her there? Yeah, she was 20 seconds ahead coming into the zone, 50 seconds ahead leaving the zone. Got Lauren Weeks, another Elite 15 HYROX athlete. Thank you, Cheryl, for the coverage here in the comments on Instagram. Got Jess Petro right here. Morgan, we're coming on right behind her, chasing her down. All right, Maria is now out of the lunges in third place. She is 2:15 behind Jen Thompson in first place. That puts her about a minute 25 back from first and second. Don't see her making up a minute 25 on Chris. Definitely don't see her over 2 minutes on Jen. So we'll see what Maria can do here in the final run coming to the wall balls. Jen has a pretty solid lead. I think pretty sure Chris has gone unbroken on wall balls before. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe he has. So Jen falters. Chris could make up sometime here, but Jen is running a heck of a race. As is Chris on her first individual race back for a while. All right, Cheryl's trying to get a good spot for the wall balls. All right, continuing to look at what we have for the lunges. So Jen's in first, Chris 50 seconds back, Maria is in third, 2:15 back, and Camila is 30 seconds behind Maria in fourth. So there's a good race right there for third place. If Camila can make up 30 seconds, she's got to run and 100 wall balls to try to make up 30 seconds if she wants a podium spot. Then we got Jess Petro in fifth and Morgan Scholes in sixth. Looks like we've got some guys here in the very front lanes finishing up their wall balls. I assume looks like they're getting ready to put the women on the far side. So you've got the men here closest to the camera, and on the far side is where the women will come in. Cheryl's doing her best to get a good shot here of the women. But they've got these first handful of lanes opened up for the pro women here. There's Jen coming in. Taking a quick breather, it looks like, before she gets going. Here we go. We're off. Anthony Parasini dropping some awesome knowledge, some stats here. So Jen's on pace for about a 64. She would need 62.59 to get into the top 15 to qualify for the Las Vegas major. she would need to put up a 240 on the wall balls. Um, they are good wall balls. If she goes unbroken, I don't think I've seen a time in the 240s though, even if you go unbroken. Um, I think it's usually in the three teens, something like that, for most women that go unbroken. And you'll see Jen actually did put the ball down there, taking a break. I have not been counting her reps. She's probably around 30, I believe, at this point. So somewhere around the 20, 25 maybe. Rep lead, Chris in second. Take a look at the time here. So Jen came in a minute and 2 seconds ahead of Chris. That's a pretty solid lead, but again, like Anthony mentioned, if she's shooting for, he really wants to get into the Elite 15 to a major. We'll probably have to put up a faster time and not just win here. You'll see Chris just took a break as well, dropping the ball there. All right, we got Maria just came in third. Another drop from Chris. Her and Jen, I think, have each dropped twice. I think Chris has too much of a lead on Maria for Maria to take second, but we'll see if Camila sneaks in quickly behind Maria. Well, Camila's a minute back from Maria. So the lunges in that last run really separated these women. Chris is around 60, Maria's around 30. So Chris still has a 30 rep lead on Maria at third. I didn't hear where Jen Thompson was at. So Maria's about to hit 40 wall balls here, has not dropped yet. But again, Maria was a whole minute 20. So it's a lot of time to make up. Jen's got one or two more left. Jen Thompson takes the win. HYROX Anaheim 2024 with a 104.43. Led just about from start to finish. I don't think she was the first one in the ski erg, but I think she was the first one coming in to the sled push. Pretty much led from early on, almost all the way through the whole race. Chris briefly passed her coming into the row. She had like a 2 seconds on her coming into the row, but Jen got off the row and actually made up even more time. Awesome performance from Jen Thompson. 104.43. Chris Roglaski crossing that finish line. 105.33. Minute 10 behind Jen. We've got Morgan in fourth. What happened to Camila? It looks like Camila came in. Maybe she's on the other side. So Camila did come in about a minute behind Maria. I'm guessing she's on the other side and just not in the shot right now. And then Jess Petro and Camila came in at the same time, fourth and fifth. Camila and Jess. Maria's about to lock up third. Maria Fetchik, third place, HYROX Anaheim 2024, 106.22. That's Morgan Scholes there in the white top. Looks like she's struggling a bit. She just dropped it. Wondering, I'm pretty sure Camila and Jess Petro are battling it out on the other side of the rig. Just not in your screen there. Yeah, so Camila and Jess are on the other side of the rig. Oh, there's Camila. Um, right there in the bright blue. So they're on the other side. They're just further down. Morgan's taking some big breaks here. Morgan's in sixth currently. So there goes Jess Petro ahead of Camila. Don't have Jess's final time just yet. But it looks like Jess end up making a move on Camila. Yeah, there's Camila coming in fifth. So Jess and Camila came in at the same time, and Jess ended up overtaking her on the wall balls. So again, Jen Thompson takes first in 104.43, Crystal Goss second in 105.33, Maria Fletcher 106.22 in third, Jess Petro in fourth with a 107.38, and Camila Massa in fifth with a 107.56. I don't usually like to speculate, but I feel like these times are slow. Um, I think they're a good bit slower than what a lot of the other races recently have been. Uh, we can look at Maria's previous times, which I'll do right now. Maria has run quite a few races recently. So let's look at some of her recent times. So in Dallas, she ran a 104.06. In Chicago, she ran a 104.05. In Toronto, she ran a 102.51. Those are all this year. Chicago and Dallas included in the last couple of weeks. 104, 104. She's been very consistent 104. And her time here is a 106. Which, look, you can go 2 minutes slower for sure. I don't want to jump to conclusions here and say that this course was way different. We don't really know what Chris has been doing lately. We haven't seen her run the race. Jen Thompson's 104.43. Let's take a look at her latest results. So what did she just run? She ran a 103.05 in Chicago. So she was a minute 40 seconds slower than what she ran in Chicago. I know Camila's put up some times better than a 107, almost a 108 really at that point. We got Katie Simonson coming in sixth, making a big jump. They're all still having a great time. Yeah, so Katie Simonson was kind of just like picking off one or two people here and there. She started out kind of seventh, eighth, ninth, um, and just kept climbing her way up and ended up sneaking into sixth place there. Moving Scholes hung on and finished in seventh. And Hybrid Fitness Media on Instagram just decided to end their live video. So I'm going to stay on just for another minute or two here until we see some of the final results of the finishing times. Let me just bring these in as these times come up. So we've got our podium, Jen Thompson, Chris Rogloski, Maria Fetchik. Then we've got Jess Petro, Camila Massa, Katie Simonson, Morgan Scholes, Bethany Flores. She's a CrossFit athlete. I believe this is her first individual HYROX. She may have done a doubles or a team relay. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that. Let me check that right now, actually, and see if she's done a HYROX yet. Does not look like it. And she got married within the last couple of years, changed her name. But I don't see her maiden name here either. So it does look like this is her first HYROX, which is an awesome showing. A 110, 8th place amongst some really awesome ladies. Very respectable time. Sam Faddis coming in 9th, 110.47. And then Katie Duke rounding out the top 10 with a 112.02. So we'll see a few of these ladies at the DECA World Championships next weekend. I'm pretty sure Sam Faddis will be there. I know Katie Duke will be there. Maybe Morgan Scholes. Not sure. And then Katie Simonson possibly will be there. So we'll see what these ladies can do next weekend at the DECA World Champs. All right, so that'll do it for me. I'll wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in. If you decided to watch, I will try to go live in the future. So subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys want to see some live commentary and going through some of the races. It can be tough if there's not majors to get the video footage. So again, shout out to Hybrid Fitness Media and Cheryl Snow for providing some awesome camera footage that we were able to look at as we went through things. And then we'll pull up the live results and go through everything as it's happening to keep you guys updated. So thanks again for watching. We'll catch you next time.